Before I start, I would like to express my gratitude. It was a very positive experience for me to work under your leadership this past year, and I'm really grateful because I met these interesting researchers and I gained new knowledge, and I want to thank you that you also pushed me forward within my academic experience. So it was really nice to hear also the review of Professor Rakoshi on the book that is about to be published. So I wanted to express my gratitude at the beginning of my presentation. It is my topic to speak today about waste management in Slovak Republic. So after a brief introduction, I will mention the energetic potential of pandemic waste. Then I'll try to touch the waste to energy facilities and their impacts on environment. Of course, within my study, I try to compare these facilities with landfills. So I try to briefly analyze the climatic impacts of landfills and try to compare these two approaches. And then at the end of my presentation, I'll try to bring some conclusions. So to start, what motivated me to begin with the analysis of waste management in the Slovak Republic was that at the end of past year, our Association of Towns and Municipalities of the Slovak Republic, together with Slovak companies, joined the so-called Berlin Call. The Berlin Call is a document that is trying to emphasize irreplaceable role or position of waste-to-energy approach within the Union and Union environmental policy. And it states an opinion that waste-to-energy approach can be combined together with recycling and push us forward towards the circular economy. Well, waste-to-energy facilities, they can create suitable conditions for the diversion of waste from landfills. And I came across the data or information that the importance of these facilities even grew during the pandemics, because the pandemics of the COVID-19 brought or maybe caused increase of some non-recyclable wastes. There are currently two facilities working in Slovakia, in the city of Košice and also in the city of Bratislava. But our country has a potential to build or maybe provide 34 these facilities in the whole country. I'm mentioning this because they are quite efficient when providing the heating for households. The efficiency is about 80%, and then can produce also electricity with the efficiency about 25%. What is the advantage? That Slovak Republic has quite a good central system of heat supply that has been built in the past century in the 60s. And these waste-to-energy plants can provide a good supply of heating within the time of energy crisis. But they do not always encounter a positive attitude from the public concerned. It is true that they are not on the top of hierarchy of waste management, because they also produce some emissions and they also bring some pollution to the environment. On the other hand, as I mentioned, the COVID-19 pandemics has increased the pressure on the management of non-recycled waste. And the COVID-19 also, what we can see in the Slovak Republic, has also led to increase of illegal landfills. And the practice in the Slovak Republic shows us that the pressure mainly on the local self-governments has therefore increased. So what does it mean that the pressure on the local self-government has increased? For example, food packaging, personal protective equipment like face mask, respirators, other protective equipment, medical waste, COVID tests. These are types of materials that grew during the pandemics, and these materials are not able or cannot be recycled. Simply to say, waste generation has therefore shifted from offices to households. And also the approach of Ministry of Environment of the Slovak Republic shows that it realized that there is impossibility to recycle these materials. And there are also some opinions that object these facilities because it's better to recycle the materials. These facilities do not have a good reputation due to released toxins and greenhouse gases. NGOs present an opinion that the above mentioned approach of waste to energy has no place in a circular economy, because in the future there will be, or there shall be, a situation that there is nothing left to burn. However, even the European Commission still has an opinion that they can play an irreplaceable role within the hierarchy of waste management. What is important, that they must meet the requirements of European legislation. The member states are allowed to build these facilities, but they do not, or they are not allowed, must not hinder the principles of waste management hierarchy. So the waste to energy facilities should play a role in the waste management and contribute to the coexistence of EU policy, but they should not hinder the environmental policy and climate change goals. They should also contribute to the energy union. Why am I mentioning all of these facts? Because of climatic impacts of landfills. Climatic impacts of landfills, that is a topic that has not been discussed until recently in the Slovak Republic. Usually the climate change in the Slovak Republic, in the Slovak media, has been connected to industry, to the economic production, to transport, to the automobile industry, because we are producing many cars in the Slovak Republic, and we did not realize that waste disposal remains at the bottom of waste management hierarchy. And is it so because of the climatic impacts of the landfills? Our constitution does not mention a precautionary principle, prevention principle. Only our Act on Environment mentions these principles. But as we are the member of EU, I think we should also respect these principles because they are part of EU environmental policy. But if we would like to apply these principles in Slovakia in reality, I think it is questionable whether we follow the precautionary principle and prevention principle, because there is a study of the European Union. It is from 2018, 4 years ago. European Union came to a conclusion that in Slovakia there is a very high rate of landfilling. As for recycling rate, it's only about 15 to 20%, and Slovakia failed to increase its rate of recycling because landfilling was cheap. It was very cheap, and it was quite popular for businesses to landfill the waste materials. Low fees do not from my point of view, correspond to the requirements of the principle polluter pays, or they do not correspond to principles of prevention or precautionary principles. However, as I already mentioned, the town Košice, we have also positive practices in the Slovak Republic. A study was published last year that the Košice is the most ecological city in the Slovak Republic. Why is it so? Because it combines the waste-to-energy approach together with recycling. The waste to energy provides household heating, and recycling provides the push of circular economy. But the reality in the Slovak Republic is still dark, I would say, because last year about 1.17 million tons of municipal waste ended up in landfills in Slovakia. A similar carbon footprint will be left behind by 15,000 passenger cars that travel the return route between Bratislava and Košice, that is about 450 kilometers every day during 1 year. So I think these numbers are quite horrific. I'm mentioning these facts because I can see that even nowadays, at the time of energy crisis, there is quite a good potential to maybe focus more on the waste-to-energy approach and to use the non-recyclable materials, because landfills contribute to climate change up to 70 times more intensively than waste-to-energy facilities. The waste-to-energy sector provides a small but significant number of EU energy supply. As you can see on the presentation, it's about 2.4% in total energy supply. The most of it is produced in Germany, and Germany is followed by France, then Italy and Netherlands. What is positive about waste to energy, that production of heat and electricity in these facilities can save up to 15 million tons of carbon dioxide per year, which would otherwise be caused by burning down the fossil fuels. So the burning of the waste diverts the waste from landfills, which can release a huge amount of carbon or methane, and also cause air, water, and soil pollution. The conventional landfills presents the worst option how to handle the waste material, but on the other hand, the truth is that also the waste to energy is not on the top in the hierarchy, but it's above the landfilling. So, in the Slovak condition, this type of waste management is regulated by the Act on Waste. There are quite strict limits laid down by law. These facilities, they have to provide annual reports every year. What are their impacts on the environment? The standards that they should keep are 4 times more strict than, for example, the standards of coal energy power plant. And if they do not meet these obligations, they can be also administratively punished by a sanction up to 33,000 euro. So, coming to conclusion, high rate of landfilling is undesirable reality. On the other hand, there are intentions to operate facilities promoting other methods of waste management which are more favorable to the environment. However, they also do not escape some criticism. So my point is that waste to energy is not perfect, but it still has a potential in the Slovak Republic, because there are only 2 facilities in Bratislava and in Košice currently in operation. And we don't have to go so far, because 70 kilometers from Bratislava there is the capital of Austria, Vienna, and it uses 4 facilities which operate in this city, and these facilities provide the heating for more than 200,000 households. That is kind of a strategic share in case of heating. So we can talk also about negatives in case of mentioned devices in form of emissions to the atmosphere, but these emissions are still lower than the emissions of waste landfills. So it is therefore very important that the decisions taken by our administration and government on operation of these facilities are taken responsibly and do not negate the superior goals of the waste management hierarchy that should be respected under the union law. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for the invitation, and I'm sorry I cannot participate in person, but I would like to give my contribution from far away. So this is my contribution is to Professor Maslen, and I would like to have 3 aspects to the study. And these 3 aspects are mainly new things which are included into his study, but I would like to draw some attention to some of the aspects. One of the things which has been addressed a lot is the waste to energy and issues regarding incineration. As Professor said, there are negative evaluation by the population and environmental organizations of the incineration. So I think it boils down to trust. What do we need trust in? One is first the environmental friendliness of the technology. But it's not enough. We have to have trust in the company's behavior, that the company will follow all the technological requirements and all the laws and legislations, and also all the requirements that authorities are placing and making them to do. There is a trust or lack of trust of public bodies' decisions. Often public bodies, like municipalities, to make their decisions based on economic aspects to increase their budgetary potentials, and sometimes they do consider less the environmental aspects. Now, the public authorities are one of the most important bodies who we need trust in, because they are responsible for the implementation and the enforcement of the legislation. And as the study showed, there are some justification that the lack of trust is justified in some ways, that authorities are not always on top of their work. If someone would go to the European Union Network for Implementation and Enforcement of Environmental Legislation, the IMPEL, then this justification is really proved, because recent reports of IMPEL shows that public authorities often lack of financial means, often lack manpower, often lack enough knowledge and training for different kinds of new solutions, new technologies, and all of these things are causing the lack of trust and the negative approach to incineration. Now let's go to the other aspect. What messages of data on waste could show us? Because it also was said that the waste hierarchy is the waste hierarchy cannot be ignored and should be enforced even when we are doing the incineration. The Eurostat statistic explained waste statistics homepage shows several recent datas. And if you go to see waste generations, excluding major mineral waste for 2010 and 2020, then we can see that in many of the countries, the waste generation has not decreased, but increased. If we go to the 2020 data, you can see that the major mineral waste is very high in some countries, but it is still very, very high. Now, we can see the waste treatment by type of recovery and disposal by 2020, and it also shows that most of the countries still have very strong landfill disposal in landfill and other ways how to deal with their waste. So if we go and we are talking about municipal waste, so waste generations by economic activities and households. The households percentage is only 9 to 5%. So municipal, if we go now to municipal waste, we can see that the treatment between 95 and 2020, the amount of waste is really increasing. And it's true what the study said, that the waste from landfill was shortened, or the amount was lessened by incineration. But at the same time, it does not solve the real problem of waste, which should be decreasing the amount of waste. The municipal waste generation is very high, and I can show you Denmark. I hope I can. No, Denmark and Austria is very high in increase of waste generation. If we go to packaging waste, we can see a very similar trend. And also Germany, who has been mentioned as a model country for waste treatment. Germany has one of the highest generated packaging waste. The recycling is there. So I think it is important that the green movement or environmental concerns are very strong. So for that reason, it is important how and what aspects the municipal waste management service is organized. We need to have it to consumers and to citizens. Consumers has the right to choose, and there are several limitation factors which can limit the choice affecting waste generations. And this is just a few of the most important aspects that will affect consumers' choice. Social and economic status is very important because sometimes they do not have the ability to buy things, but also sometimes they must buy something to keep their social and economic status. And the sales methods are very, very important. I don't have time to explain these, but I think we should talk about this. The citizen approach, on the other hand, is right to a healthy environment. So whose obligation is to implement and enforce? The public bodies and legislation, and the enforcement of legislation is the most commonly accepted. But no, it's not just that. Individuals based on social values, have to and has an obligation to act in order to decrease the waste. So all of these factors have to be considered when municipal waste management service is designed. Now, I developed a waste model based on the waste hierarchy, and these waste models, there are three: the individual value model and consumer model and the value model. It is about what do we do if we think, how do we approach different kinds of things that we needed no more. So in the individual model, we do use it for, if we don't need any more, we usually give it to someone who can use it, or someone who can do something with it, either either recycling it to someone or recovers for recovery, and then the rest comes only to become waste, and then we have a disposal. So this is the individual value model. The consumer model, if someone does not need something anymore, it already becomes a waste, and then it will come the waste hierarchy. And in a value model, these two are together. So it should be together, because if we talk about prevention, the first part, which is before waste, is really the prevention part. And usually in the EU, this is often less considered, because waste legislation is difficult to develop on that one. And final picture, that it doesn't matter which way we do the municipal waste organizations. If we do consider all the aspects which has been shown above, it is important that they have to be compatible. We can have a system which considers all the aspects and all the treatment.